remember how we had talked about the zero lot lines in previous discussions and how we wanted to have that? And is this addressing all of the concerns we had about zero lot lines and putting all of the safety features in, so staff is comfortable with this? We've addressed this in the text. Okay, open space.
Open space. A, size. Open spaces shall be designed with usable sizes and proportion. B, placement. Open spaces shall be distributed throughout the neighborhood. C, accessibility. Open spaces shall be reasonably accessible to all of the development residents as follows. Number 1, pedestrian access to common open space shall occur within 500 feet of every dwelling unit in the development. Where provided, access to open space shall be a minimum of 25 feet wide and shall be located where such access is visible to dwelling units and shall not be isolated by walls, screening, landscaping, or any other kind of barrier that would prevent resident surveillance of the open space. D.
Now, accesses can be sidewalks. And to the green space access, you can use sidewalks for that as well.
I would assume access is sidewalks.
I don't think that sidewalks are going to work.
No, I'm saying, let's say we have a bike path, more than 500 feet. I have a townhome, whatever, or T&D more than 500 feet from that bike trail. But I have a sidewalk in front of my house that leads to the bike trail.
That would be fine. This is your house, this is your sidewalk, and this is
I'm 700 feet from the bike trail.
Or the bike trail.
But that's access. Why would that not count? That would count.
That would
That
count.
Okay.
That would count.
Just clarification.
Yeah, but you can't have sidewalk alone accounting as access.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Understand.
Okay. Existing natural features. This is letter D. Existing natural features on a development site shall be preserved wherever possible by incorporating them into the open space. Existing trees shall be protected in the creation and maintenance of any open space. Letter E. Areas included as open space. Active open space shall be defined as areas utilized for recreational activities in which major improvements and impact occurs to natural land features. Active open space may include, but is not limited to, walking and biking trails, play structures for children, sports fields such as basketball, sand volleyball, soccer, etc. Polo. D, swimming pools. 2, passive open space shall be defined as areas utilized for passive activities such as sitting or relaxing, or in which minimal impact occurs to natural land features. Passive open space may include, but is not limited to, preserved natural areas, including areas unsafe or not easily accessible to pedestrians, such as steep slopes and wooded preserves, gardens, seating, such as gazebos and picnic tables, and landscape courtyards. Areas not allowed as open space. Active private recreation facilities such as clubhouses shall not be included in open space calculations. Land on easements or overhead electric transmission lines shall also not be included in open space calculations. Open spaces may be crossed by easements for public utilities where such easements will involve access by persons or vehicles for periodic maintenance or repair. Now, the only reason for that is that we just don't want kids getting fried under electric power lines, or anybody for that matter.
So if it's a high pressure, if it's a high
High
transmission line, you got 100-foot easement,
Mhm.
and you put a bike trail through it, you can't.
You can't put a bike trail
I don't like that.
there.
We've got houses underneath them.
Well, I know that, but there's been a lot of
Not a
research
really good thing to
recently
do.
about
No.
the electromagnetic fields being generated by those
Yeah.
power lines and
the EMFs that come off of that are,
Well, not underneath it,
And I
I'm
would
just
not
talking
want
about, you
people
know, bike
playing
trail,
under
if you have
there.
that open space area.
we would have to plan carefully around such areas is what we would have to do. We do not want to have trails. I saw one driving up to Liberty on 291. There was this electric power plant, and right next door to it was like this kid's playground, and I thought,
Well, I'm
that
not-
was poor planning.
I'm not talking about playgrounds, I'm just talking about if you have bike trails.
Well, I tell, people in those high voltage lines do not belong together. So it is,
It's an accident waiting to happen.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll give you an example, we have Eagles Ridge, I got a bike trail that's going underneath that power line there.
is that high voltage?
Oh, yeah, high transmission line.
Well, I think in the future, we ought to, it would behoove us to.
I would not be in favor of
You're checking out,
that.
it's 100 foot tall, and
It would be.
there's no, I mean, the ohm meter's not showing anything. We
Well,
tested
we're
that
not
before.
testing for radioactivity, we're talking EMFs.
Well, I mean, when Mopub was out, or Quill was out there, but,
Well, his record of being
Well.
environmentally friendly is not necessarily an outstanding one, at least.
It'll behoove us to go ahead and think about making our trail systems and whatnot closer to natural features and away from.
How often would this
high voltage.
occur? How often do you have
Very
this happen?
often.
I was gonna say,
Not
you've
very
got a Eagles
often.
Ridge. I mean, I can think of subdivisions built near one, but I'm trying to think of, the really big one over by Coles. I mean, I'm trying to think of the big ones. I don't think it'd be that often.
You got that one off of Coleman Road, that's right under a huge power line. It's out there, Coleman Road, going toward Lake Chacoma.
Oh, you're right.
There's a bunch of really nice houses, and they're right under this huge.
People are allowed to.
underneath
Underneath
it, houses are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
See,
my.
I don't know if this is saying as much negativity as we think it is. It's just saying these are areas that aren't allowed as open space in terms
It's
of.
not gonna count. If
Not
you got a big
counting
old power line, you don't get to count
as
as open
open
space
space.
under there.
And it
Okay.
says that, you know, land on easements for overhead electric transmission lines shall not be included in open space calculations.
Right.
Not say it's not allowed to be used, it's just it doesn't count.
Well, it does say it's not allowed to be used, it can only be used by persons or vehicles only for
Well, see,
periodic maintenance.
it says though that open spaces may be crossed by easements for public utilities, where such easements will involve access by persons or vehicles only for vehicles. I'm not sure, how does that really read? I'm reading that a couple different ways. It could either mean that it's an easement that's only accessed by those who need to access it
That's the way I'm
frequently,
reading
you know, that it won't be dug up
Mhm.
and repaired every month. That's something that they only come in once a year and do some
Right.
testing on it.
And if you've got a bunch of power lines, you can count that in your open space.
Right,
Right.
I guess I'm reading it a couple ways where you, like
Would
you're
you, where you
saying.
count that in your open space
Yeah.
for Eagles Ridge? Well, the option would be they could come before the BZA and try and get an allowance. They could prove there's no emission. I mean, you could, if you
Well, I
had-
mean, it's already done and approved.
I know, but
anyway,
if you had
so-
that come up again, you could actually state your case to the BZA and show that there's no emissions. and-
Well, I'm way over open space on that anyway, so I'm sure.
When it
doesn't
probably
matter
doesn't
anyways,
matter.
but-
I did flip the order of the sentences. Originally, the first, second sentence was before the first one.
This is from Lee Summit, we'll check with them too to see how they're interpreting this,
Right.
because it could, I see what, like what Paige is saying initially is that you can't have easements cross open space. But if you read it this other way, it's just saying that you can't have those who access the easement, in terms of
Mhm.
those who own the easement, access it more than just periodically.
Right.
Meaning, you can still use it
Maintenance.
as open space, but you can't do, it's not something where they close off access
Yeah.
to it.
Can't play golf underneath the high transmission lines and stuff.
I've seen that happen, I'm surprised.
Well, I think that's not uncommon in terms of what was happening historically. But I think that direction has changed.
I think so too.
We'll get some clarification from
All right.
Lee Summit.
Move on.
Moving on. Next up is vehicles. Okay. No vehicles other than motorized vehicles, I'm sorry. No vehicles other than motorized wheelchair shall be operated within common open spaces except for maintenance purposes. H, additional land review. It's getting late. Additional plan.
But you said you're gonna